Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the LVLing Up Vodcast, which is the Level Up Consulting Vodcast, where I get to talk to some extraordinary business owners and hear their stories and some fantastic transformational things they have done. And the stories don't get much better than this man that we have here on the screen, which is Nick Ginsburg, who, if you want to check out what Nick does, go to nickginsburg.com. But Nick, welcome to today's episode. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. I love doing stuff like this. So as soon as you asked, I was like, of course, I'm all in. So I'm Nick Ginsburg. I wear kind of two hats, you could say. So I have a Bruce Wayne job, which is I work for a university here in Victoria as an executive assistant. And then I have my Batman job, which is my stuff outside of work, which is the business that I run. So I run my own business. I provide coaching services to admin professionals worldwide. I also do a fair bit of public speaking. And I've now, in the last 3 months, launched an admin network community that is a membership-based platform, and that is worldwide. So that's me.
Amazing. And we're going to hear more about your business journey, but I'm curious to know, so your Bruce Wayne job, as you say, have you been doing that a long time? And then what happened for you to make you go, actually, I want my own business as well?
Yeah, so I've been working there for 9 years, but in the role I'm currently in for about 3 and a bit, which is as executive assistant to the provost, which essentially is where all the deans of the faculties report into. But about, I would say probably 4-ish years ago, I started an admin EA network internally within Monash. And that's really when my business brain sort of kicked in. And I went, hang on, there is way more that I can be doing with this externally. And so that's really how it started, but it lay dormant as my head was wrapping around it for a little bit. And then end of 2019 is really when I went, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's go. I can make this into what I think I can make it. And then it started. And then COVID hit, so it all kind of went a bit skewy.
Hold that thought. I am going to ask you about
COVID
and the start of your journey. But I want to just quickly go back to what was like, was there a gap, or was there something that you saw in the internal like Monash community that made you go, there's a business opportunity here?
Yeah, so internally, and this is the thing, so it wasn't a business opportunity that I saw internally within Monash, because obviously I can't, it's my workplace. Yeah. But I did definitely notice that there was quite a big gap in terms of, I would say, collaboration within the admin profession. Mm-hmm. So in particular, executive assistants at the university. And I thought, so for me, I know that I sat in a building surrounded by executive assistants, and there were days where I felt totally alone, where I didn't feel like I could reach out to someone. And it wasn't because the people were horrible. I work with great people, but it's because it is by nature such an isolating role, because what you know is really your boss and it's their secrets and you can't share that. So what I thought, well, if I'm feeling like this and I sit in this role within the university, imagine what the other 100 odd people are feeling. Like, it'd be the same or worse or better or whatever, but I knew that would really work. And so I launched the network hoping for the best. I'm a big believer of just sort of close your eyes and go for it, just a bit of a in the deep end. And it worked really well. And I think understanding how I would feel and how I felt really enabled me to create the network in a way that targeted those feelings straight away, so people instantly felt connected with it. So that really helped.
Beautiful. So you've got this kernel of an idea. You're going to make this network. When did this idea kick off? And spoiler alert, we're going to have a COVID story here. What happened?
Oh dear. So, so I would say maybe 2019 was a big year for me. So I definitely got to a point where I was like, okay, the network is running really well. I understand the community. I know what they want. And I figured, well, if they want these things internally, there are people that want similar things externally. It can't just be confined to Monash, right? So,
So you started the network in Monash.
Yeah. So that network was solely Monash. And so I thought, well, if they have these feelings and they have these wants and this craving for additional information and asking me questions on these topics that they know that I'm passionate about, I was like, well, there's got to be others out there. And so throughout 2019, I started writing a couple of LinkedIn articles. Please don't go back and read them. But I did. I started writing LinkedIn articles, and I really wanted to find my sort of lane. And for me, I've always been big on personal branding. So I understand my strengths, I understand my weaknesses. I know what I can bring. And so to sort of narrow that down and to do that. And when I started writing the articles, people reached out to me to come and talk at conferences and join panels, and you know how it goes. And I thought, hang on, there's something here. Not only do those people internally ask me these questions, but now I'm getting asked to speak about them externally. So I thought, right, I need to be smart about this. I need to really put my business hat on and go, right, what can I make out of this? And so come the end of 2019, I thought, okay, I'm going to build up a really great network of speaking gigs. I want to get out. I want to spread the word, and I wanted to get into coaching, all very much face-to-face.
Oh, lots of one-on-one interaction in person. You jet set around. I can just imagine it now, Nick.
Yeah, and my boss was on board, and because I'm very appreciative of him and his time, so I am very clear with my line. So I have my Monash work and my outside work, and they're very separate. And all of these speaking gigs, he knew when they were. There was leave put in, all of that hoo-ha, right? Wow. Yeah, so I had stuff booked, and then COVID hit, and I went, oh, okay, I don't know what this means. And so I waited for a little bit, and then I got together with two other people within our community, and we talked about how we can help EAs transition from working in an office to working at home, because it is a really tricky profession to manage that transition, because it's so much face-to-face, understanding subtle cues. It's all of that to then not getting any of that, right? So how do we help them? What technology can help them with that? All of that. And we put together this summit that went for 6 hours. It was opened up worldwide, and we had 940 something, I think, register for it. Yeah, incredible. I have never been more nervous talking on a Zoom. And
what's your target? So how many?
Oh my God, our target was like 100. Like, I kid you not. So myself and one of the others were like, look, if we get 100, I'm going to be stoked. I just can't wait. That'll be great. And then Michelle, one of the other people that are in it, she's much more like, no, let's reach for the stars. So she was like, let's go for 150, right? Sure, reach for the stars. And then we hit 150 within hours. So we launched it, and 150 was, within hours. I'm not even joking.
So wait, Nick,
then we're like,
there are people listening to this going, what did you do? How did you get 900 people? Did you advertise, or what happened?
Oh yeah. So we we had very specific branding for the event. We had a website for the event. We each used our own networks to pump that out, and we had very different networks. And so we hit, quite a different area of the admin community, which I think really helped. But really, it was just one of those things where the ball started rolling. And I mean, we could have never have imagined over 900 registering. Like, it wasn't even entering our head. I remember when we hit 500 and it was like a week later, it was not a lot of time. And I thought, oh my God, we might make 1,000. What are we? I mean, I'm going to have to increase our Zoom license, was what I was thinking. Like this, and we had amazing, we worked with amazing people as part of it. So we had an incredible lineup that we knew that people wanted to hear from. So we had Facebook, we had Google, we had Microsoft, we had Zoom, we had,
How did you find all these amazing speakers?
So one of the three of us, Michelle, she had some great contacts, but really it was us going to companies going, hey, this is what we're putting on. It's a free event. We're going to help people work from home. Are you in? Who's good? So I'm a big believer, you always ask the question, what's the worst someone's going to say to you? No, who cares? Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So for me, I always go, yep. Hey, are you interested in this? I would love for you to be on board. No, totally fine. No issue. So that's what we did with that. Anyways, the event came around, and this is like height of COVID in Australia. And the event comes around. We had 450 people on the event live consistently for 6 hours. The number didn't drop under 450 until I think it was the last hour.
And how many hours in total?
6. We had 6 hours, 12 till, it was 6 hours. And it was just, still, I mean, it's just kind of breathtaking. When that happened, that was such a pivotal moment for me, because I went, everything I thought about what I could do in business, which was face-to-face, building those connections here in Melbourne, went out the window, because I thought, I can now do this worldwide. There's nothing stopping me. So what are my new goals? Where do I want to reach? And so I really just closed my eyes and jump.
So your new business, your speaking gig, sharing your insights, reaching out to a brand new network of, administrators, and suddenly, against, I guess, probably your strategy, that all changed because of COVID. You couldn't do those speaking events. You've pivoted in the most eloquent pirouette of a pivot to this event, which was amazing. And then you went, okay, time out, time to go back to strategy. And what happened next?
Yeah. So from there, I realized that there was such an international market that was craving information. And so I launched my Instagram account. So I launched it, I think it was maybe the end of March, early April. It was somewhere around then. And I thought, I'm just going to dedicate this Instagram account to providing information that I find useful, things that really have affected my life in both work and personal. I'm going to share it on there. I started doing weekly videos to sort of get content out. And whilst I'm not an influencer or have huge amounts of followers, I have just under 1,000 followers in less than 12 months, which I'm stoked about. Yeah. So I'm really, really, really stoked. Yeah. So, and it's such an even split for me. So I've got a lot of followers in the UK. I've got a lot of followers in North America, and obviously Australia and New Zealand. And it really organically grew from there. So I knew straight away that I could adjust my offerings to virtual and that it wouldn't have the impact I thought it would, because I was worried that virtual meant a lack of authenticity and an ability to connect. And that wasn't the case at all. I think it really proved, that period after the event, it really proved to me that you can make really solid connections and make it work. I mean, prime example, the three of us that put on that event had never met face to face.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was just on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
And we put on the event. Yeah. So we had never had a conversation face to face. We never met face to face. I think the two of them are in Sydney, I'm in Melbourne. And I do think they had met maybe once or twice face to face, but me never. And so when I realized that hey, I can do heaps of stuff online, it's like, let's go. So over the course of last year with COVID, I did regular workshops on various topics, lots of different topics, all sort of stuff that I'm really passionate about speaking about. So I put on these workshops for people, started my coaching business really from scratch, like real scratch. And I've been so incredibly lucky to have worked with some incredible people. Just and some great outcomes. And it's one of those moments, I think, when you look back and you think, wow, like I knew that I could do this, I could feel it, but then you see it and you go, wow, that's really cool that I was able to do that. And so one of my clients came to me for productivity coaching. So we wanted to go through email management and how her executive runs through his email management. And we managed to get his emails, his inbox from 30,000, you heard that correct, 30,000, to they're now operating inbox 0 between the two of them. Yeah. And so it's moments like that where I go,
I must know.
oh my, inbox 0 is the best thing that has ever happened to me. And it's something that I've been doing since I started in corporate, and I just didn't know what it was called. I can't take any credit for inbox 0, but I have a tweaked version for EAs because we have slightly different inboxes that we deal with. But it's incredible. Incredible. It's a whole mindset of, I'm a big believer, your emergency is not my emergency. I will do everything I can to help you. But if you come running to me with an emergency, I don't have to hang on to that emergency until you confirm back with me about what you need to do. That's the ball's in your court now. Doesn't need to stay in my inbox. Needs to go. So yeah, so that's amazing. So all of that stuff happened. And then I had been sitting on this idea, last year was a big year. I'd been sitting on this idea of creating an external community very similar to my internal network. But I wanted to wait for the right time, the right platform, the right system to be able to support it. I wanted to make sure what I was offering people was valuable, because I think a lot of people jump particularly into the network space and don't maybe necessarily think through who they're targeting. I'm not targeting everyone. I'm targeting a group of people that need a specific set of skills and want to share those with other people. And so, yeah, I launched that in December. It's called The Collective. And it's incredible. We've got members in the UK, in Canada, in America, in Australia and New Zealand. And
how do you find The Collective?
All on my website. So it's all on nickginsburg.com.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's all that. And that's the other, so getting our business hat on, I think it's really important, and this is something that I learned, because I wanted to initially create a new website for everything that I did, because, you want to make it new and fun and fresh.
Yes.
Then I realized I was diverting traffic away from my main website. And I was like, oh, that's a bit dumb. That's not the smartest way of doing it for me. So everything's now trafficked into there. So I have a podcast as well that I host, which has nothing to do with work. So it's about my childhood. It's called The Open Drive. And that is also housed on my website. I used to have its own personal page there, but again, everything's me. So it comes under that banner of that website, which has worked really, really, really well from a business point of view.
Brilliant. Now, I want to ask something that you mentioned a little bit ago, and that was about Instagram. So you said, I'm going to go global. Can reach more people. Amazing. And you're looking at all the options when you're doing your strategy, and you land on Instagram. What made you land there? And then how did you go from essentially 0 to 1,000 followers in 12 months? What did you do?
So, the thing that for me, Instagram, I'm such a visual person. So I love creating graphics. I love doing all of that. And I loved Instagram as a personal user, but I had no idea that there was this uh, business side of it. And there was this huge uh, community of thought leaders and leaders within the EA profession and all of that on there. And when I started finding them and I was hearing about them before I launched, and I thought, oh, hang on, that will work for me. Because
Okay.
it's visual
Yes.
and I know how Instagram works. So LinkedIn, I also really like. I'm not a fan of Twitter. I have a Twitter and I just don't use it. It's just
A lot of
I
people
don't.
do that, actually.
I tried so hard to get into Twitter and I just can't do it. So I I like LinkedIn. Really like LinkedIn for various aspects, but I knew Instagram was a really great space for me to have, because all of my stuff with business isn't a product. So I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling something that is external to me.
Mhm.
Essentially, this sounds weird, but I'm selling me. And so there's got to be, which sounds very odd, but it has to have my flair, my personality. It has to have the option to have various forms of media. So being able to have long captions, which is great on Instagram, being able to have really cool graphics, being able to upload long form video in IGTV, to go live, to all of these things, all of them I use really regularly. That was the thing that got me across.
Mhm.
And Instagram is all about connecting and collaborating with each other and engaging with other people and finding your people out there, right? And so all I did was share my stuff, find people that I really enjoyed seeing their stuff, and start engaging with each other. That's really it. That's how Instagram works. I mean, it's not that fancy. I mean, you can do a lot more to get thousands of followers, but who cares? I don't care about that.
Yes, but I think you raise a really important note. So particularly people who are new in business, or they want to be known as an expert in their field, we
Mm.
tend to get taught that you've got to be in multiple channels, and if you want business people, you've got to be on LinkedIn, or you've got to be on YouTube, or you've got to be on Facebook, whatever. Which is true in a way. You be where your target market are, but I think what you've really highlighted for me, and we don't think about this enough, is what is the medium that works for you as well? It's where you can be your authentic self. And if
Yeah.
Instagram is working for you, pick Instagram and nail it, which sounds like what you're doing. So I see it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of this. You see people try and fit into the mold of a particular platform, and it just doesn't work. Um,
No.
so you've got to weigh out both of those things.
And just on that, the so I do a lot of work around authenticity, and I think you're so spot on. So many people try and fit a mold, be it for a social media platform or for what they view a successful person to be. And I know, particularly in my field, a lot of people will spot a successful executive assistant to someone at the top of their game and will go, okay, that's who I need to be. And that's not what it is at all. So what you see of me online and here now is exactly what I am in person. There's no difference. And to be honest, there's no difference because I don't have the energy to waste on trying to fit myself into something that isn't going to get me what I want,
Mhm.
right? So LinkedIn, love, put energy into that. But I share automatically from Instagram to Facebook.
Mhm.
That's it. I don't put a lot of effort into Facebook because that's not my world. Um, and that's okay. And to be honest, my clients aren't on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
Some are, and that's great. But I mean, yeah, I, I I think you need to be smart about where it is that you're going, and then once you've figured out what's what, you have to be consistent.
Mhm.
If you are not consistent and you are not showing up when you say you're going to show up, people will let you get away with that once, maybe twice, but that is it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and I've probably talked about this before on a webinar or on a vodcast episode, but please, if you're watching this, do not underestimate how long it takes, how many times you have to be in front of someone in a consistent way for them to remember you and have you top of mind. I honestly have people come to me all the time that say, I saw that video you did 6 months ago. And I'm like, what video? What did I do?
Yes.
They've remembered it. I haven't because I'm doing them every week. But yeah, don't take for granted that. And I think that's a really key message. So if you're watching this episode, the two learnings I've got from Nick from social media is, pick the platform you're having fun with and that you like, because you will be your authentic self, and be consistent, be on there, be yourself. And again, I've talked about this before, but we know video is great. It's a great medium. People can connect with you, but I'm often talking to people who go, I don't like video. I don't do video. I'm scared of video. People will judge me. Well, if you're being your authentic self, then actually there might be more benefits than costs. So,
And and that's so right. Like for me, I know, so if anybody is watching this has followed me on Instagram, you would have heard this 20,000 times. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's totally okay. I know that listening, there are going to be some people who don't like me. That's all right. That doesn't bother me, because they're not my people, and that's fine. And I think also to reiterate your point, I still get messages and emails from a podcast that I recorded 2.5 years ago. Yeah.
case closed.
Still get it. And I had to re-listen to it recently because I forgot what I'd said. And so I was like, I just have to make sure that what I said then lines up to who I am now, who my authentic self is now, because I'm not sure what I was saying back then, but it was spot on. It was what I'd say now. But, you just kind of went in that panic of...
Absolutely. It's fantastic. Okay, so sorry, I took us down a bit of a rabbit warren talking about social media, but I think it's a good one. I mean, it's great to see that you've been able to use Instagram in a really great way to make your business grow, and it sounds like it's absolutely thriving. But I want to change gears slightly as our last question for today's episode, and that is, so obviously your business has transformed, but you're actually in the business of transforming other people. So what is it that you do that helps other people transform?
Oh, that's a good question. So I really love, so I often think of what I do as giving people clues to navigate themselves. So it's almost like Google Maps. So I'm Google Maps, but for the feelings and the processing part of you. So how you navigate. That's what I really like. I like doing that stuff. I really, really, really love pointing things. So I'm great at reading people. So first go, it's pretty spot on. Very rarely am I wrong. And being able to help people see who I see. Because when we are talking and we're trying to go through any sort of transformation, so much of what we think about is our own limitations. And so by me being able to go, hey, if you turn left here, that's what you're already showing me. You're already doing this. So now let's focus on it. And a lot of the times it's much more subtle than that, because some people have to be gently guided down the path. And others are like me and happy to just be told, hey, this is what you're doing. Why can you not see that you're already doing it? Mm-hmm. So being able to gauge that, and I love doing that. It makes me feel all nice and mushy.
Amazing. So you do that as part of your coaching?
Yeah. So coaching, no matter what it is we're coaching through. So I specialize in a couple of different areas, but it really is helping people navigate what's essentially already there, but it's helping them discover it, because so often we have these predetermined limits that we put on ourselves and our mind, and it takes someone to point it out, be it gently or a bit rough, for people to really go, oh, you're right, I can do that. And then to see, I mean, my favorite thing is watching people change. So watching people sort of come into themselves and go, oh my God, you're right, I am great. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, like that's what I saw in the first session. I'm so glad that you've joined me.
Yeah, well, that's hugely transformative for people, and there must be such a fulfilling role you play.
Yeah, look, and I really like it. So I always say to people in the first session, it's such a personal thing that I need them to feel the same thing that I feel on that first call. And if it's not there, it's not there. I'm not the right fit for them. But also the person has to meet me halfway.
Yeah.
It's not my job to steer them exactly to where they need to go, right? They need to be able to also steer themselves. Yeah, exactly. What's that? You can lead a water to horse but can't make it drink. I've just turned into my mother, by the way. I
think it's horse to water, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Dear.
I love it.
Oh.
Well, to wrap us up, Nick, do you want to just give us a bit of a plug on the coaching that you do and the areas you do specialize in? Because I'm sure there's people listening going, I need Nick on speed dial right now.
Sure. So for coaching in particular, there's a couple of areas that are a big speciality for me. So authenticity and personal branding, a lot of the times they go hand in hand. So that's a good one that I focus on, and that's the large part of my work. So personal branding, understanding who you are, getting to that authentic self, staying at that authentic self. And then I do a whole bunch of stuff around productivity. So tech, email management, time management is a big one, and helping people understand that busy doesn't equal success is a really that's been a fun one to help some people navigate. So they're the two main ones.
Amazing. And do you just specialize in executive assistants, or are you open for any sort of client?
I'm open to anyone. So in the coaching side of things, open to anyone. So that's totally fine. I love working with admin professionals though, because often they do end up sort of not reaching out and not being able to sort of get the same assistance that their executive would. So I tend to focus on them, but I'm open to anyone. If we've got a right connection and I can help you, I'm in.
Beautiful. All right. And where can we find you? What's your Instagram handle and your website address?
Easy. So everything's just Nick Ginsburg. So my website's nickginsburg.com and the Instagram is @NickGinsburg. Super easy.
You've got more followers coming your way right now. Thank you, Nick. A sincere thank you from me for spending some time with me today to let us know about your business and your transformation and the transformation you give to other people. I'm feeling inspired to get my inbox down to 0 and to, have a little look at my social media again and see if I can have some more fun with it and be a bit more authentic. Why not? Let's all have another look and do great things. So thank you for your time.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, you're welcome. Thank you. Yes, if you're watching this episode and you've made it to the end, thank you for coming along. If you'd like to hear more about what Nick does, of course, you can go to nickginsburg.com. And if you'd like to see some of our other episodes or see some tip videos coming from the Level Up team, just go to levelupconsulting.com.au. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next episode. Thanks, everybody.